Hey, Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back. It's 2024. Hope you've had a good year so far. Obviously, my name's Adam, if you haven't come across me before. And we are going to be joined by Nick Ronald at some point. He is a business-minded person. And we're now on different platforms. So we're on like Twitter for finally, because that's the first time I've been allowed on Twitter after 3 years. Been blocked, and now we're on Instagram. But I'm joined by the Phoenix Life Coach, the positive overthinker himself. How are you?
I'm very well, mate. How are you?
I am brilliant, thanks. I'm
Good.
brilliant.
I love your positive energy.
You love my positive energy?
I do.
Well, you have to be positive, don't you? You ain't got time to be negative.
Of course, mate. Exactly. What's life if you're not positive, right?
Exactly. Of course, being negative, it can actually be healthy as well.
Yeah.
It gives you the tools and strategies to learn from.
Exactly right.
Absolutely. So please do all share this, everyone, and I'll do our intro video, and then we'll just dive into how we all rose from the ashes, but not literally. See you soon.
Oh, it's true.
And welcome back. Phoenix Life Coach, tell us a little. I'll give you the platform. So obviously, I'll jump out. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how you literally rose from the ashes yourself. Obviously, talk a little bit about your experience before you become a successful overthinker.
Yeah. So, it's a long story, really. I mean, I've come from the ashes a number of times, actually. I was a teacher for 15 years. I had ups and downs in that respect. I've dealt with a number of rejections from my parents when I was growing up, a lot of childhood trauma. And then I was actually punched by my brother, put in hospital when I was 23 during my teaching course. My parents actually didn't even side with me. They didn't want my brother to go to prison, so they sided with him. I've gone through a divorce. I've gone through quite a horrible relationship in the last 3 years, and lots of different issues with workplaces I've worked in. But I decided to set up my own company, which is Phoenix Life Coaching, and I absolutely love what I do. I help people day to day with mental health, with anxiety, with depression, and all based upon my own experiences, really, and my own training that I've gone through. Obviously, teaching 15 years teaches you a lot, because you deal with people with all sorts of different issues that they're faced with. And I'm currently on a mission at the minute to teach as many third world children as I can. So I'm currently in Brazil, and I want to teach science for free and give something back to that. So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey, I have to say. So yeah, I've learned a lot through it, and I'd say my biggest skill set is emotional resilience, which is what I work with my clients with a lot. So that's it.
Absolutely. And the Vertical Momentum Resiliency Podcast. Hi, Richard. Hope you're well. Thanks for sharing. Obviously, it's just all about getting that awareness, that message out there, because a lot of people are still scared of using their voice. I was once there, and I bet you was as well. But now we have found our identity. It's all about just kicking ass as usual, day in, day out.
100%. I mean, I just love to help people where I can, and one of the best platforms I've found so far is TikTok, because there's so many people out there, they're struggling with mental health, and they see my lives and they see what the videos that I do and coping techniques and strategies, and they always reach out, which is really nice. So if there's anybody watching and anyone's struggling with mental health at the minute, feel free to check out my website. I'll put it on the chat later. Check out my TikTok as well, which is how you found me, isn't it, Adam?
It is.
And yeah, it's great to collab with people like yourself, because like you say, you're so positive yourself, and I think we need more, in my opinion, men need to help men more. I don't think there's enough support for men, and I don't think men compliment men enough in the day and age that we live, and that's probably why the suicide rate is so high for men, and most deaths, 70% of male deaths is suicidal, which is sad, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it's wrong because there's still that stigma attached to men from actually speaking out. So this is why I collaborated with you, because it's all about getting that message out there. Because as I keep saying, I keep stressing over and over, it's like it's good having all these different platforms, all these different pages and groups, and all these little voices. But if we all collaborate, then we can become one big voice, which 100%. I think is absolutely freaking fantastic.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely.
Hello, Miss Liz from Canada as well. Hi, Richard Faye as well. Hope you're all well. So mental health. Obviously, what our message is plain and simple: manifest from mental illness into mental wellness. Because that's all you need to do is take the I and replace it with we, because there's no I in team, and that's as it is. So, and even then, there's a lot of people still feeling isolated and lonely, and they think they're isolated, but in reality, they're just scared of asking for that help, and that is mainly men.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that completely. It's interesting because the majority of my clients are females. And I think there's a lot of men out there that just go, why would I pay someone to help me? But they don't understand the difference it can make to their lives when they do ask for that help. And I am picking up 2 or 3 clients now that are men, and the first thing they say is how much they've come along and how much they've changed their life around. And it's interesting, isn't it, Adam? People are willing to pay, I don't know, £100 for a new pair of sunglasses, pay, £1,000 for a new phone, or £10,000 for a new car, but they won't actually invest in their own mental health. It's crazy.
Absolutely, yeah. And obviously, if for the people that actually know me, they know that I struggle around Christmas. But for people that and I have to promote it, I really do, because many people have told me to promote it on here. So that's what I'm going to do. This is the first Christmas that I actually thought, you know what? Is it going to be hard? Yes. Am I going to struggle? Yes. But I found a hobby, and that hobby is I've actually started doing some cartoon art, and so that's what. So I've drawn all sorts, and the other day I actually sold my first drawing. I sold it.
Wow!
So
amazing.
And now it's on its way. It's on its way to Indianapolis as we speak.
Incredible. Well done.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you. Nick Ronald, the secret influencer. How are you?
Yes, definitely late. Yeah, good. Definitely late. 6-hour delays on the trains because of the weather. So, but
how you doing, Nick? Nice to meet you.
Yes, okay. Nice to meet you.
Meet the Phoenix life coach, also the positive overthinker.
On TikTok, yeah. How you doing? You good?
I'm all good. Yes, I'm great.
Good.
I'm
awesome. Awesome.
Yeah, just dropped my 8-year-old son off. So 2 weeks of him, always good, always happy times.
Good.
Absolutely. So same question to you since we heard it. How did you? Because obviously it was me and you that actually spoke about this a couple of months ago, about this topic, rising from the ashes. Now, obviously, for people that don't know Nick, he's gone through so much shit in his life, from being homeless to losing your house, was it? And marriage and all that?
Yes, pretty much everything I built up. Yes, I lost everything.
Exactly. So you literally built up from scratch. So obviously, share it all if you want.
Yes, I think
you actually struggled and all that.
Yeah, no, of course. So I'll very briefly share my story. So I used to work in marketing, career marketing, for sort of I did 15 years. Then I got married. Married for 10 years. And I had my son Noah was born. I had a couple of redundancies of my job. I had a job and got made redundant, and then got another job made redundant. And so I was sort of trying to decide what to do, a bit freelancing, and we had some, I think, because I wasn't working, so some financial stresses and arguments with my wife, and ended up divorcing just before lockdown. So I moved out, and because in lockdown, you couldn't rent anywhere, you couldn't stay in hotels, everyone's in a bubble. So I ended up homeless. I slept in parks for sort of 6 months in some friends' sofas, and I moved to the south coast to save a family member down there. And very sadly, the 13-year-old son of my stepsister, who had a sort of form of autism, jumped off a cliff, and he killed himself. So in that point, I literally had lost everything, and I thought it was that when that happened, I thought I lost, the loss of 2 years, I think it was. I lost just over 2 years, lost my career, my wife, my son. My wife taking my son to Wales, and I had no money. I've been sleeping on the streets and parks, and now I was like, obviously, someone got close to, and just killed himself. So I literally lost everything. Built everything up, built a career up, a big house, my wife, and then lost everything. So I think that was definitely one of the lowest points of my life. And yes, so since that happened, I'm back in London. I've got my own flat, to build up my business. So I've literally, many people's lives go up and down, and that's nature, that's life. But I think it's certainly, having got my experiences, I appreciate things, and I think it's definitely learned some lessons along the way. So
how did you pull yourself back from that, Nick, then, like the lowest part? Because you ever see Tony Robbins? He always says you need to experience the lowest of lows before you actually turn it back around. So
I think it's there's a saying, sometimes things have to get worse before they get better. They have to, and I think I think what I did was I realized that I couldn't do it on my own. So I turned to my family, I turned to my friends, and I think it was finding, that network of people who you can rely on, who will stand by you and step in and give that support. And luckily, I did have some family and some friends who supported me and helped me get back. My first, it's sort of like a ladder. I say, get that first step on the ladder to get you out of that sort of
the rut.
And I think I genuinely couldn't have done it on my own. I think, well, I wouldn't say that, but I think at that point not just practically with my situation, but also obviously mentally, I was it was very hard. There were a lot of police and social workers going to the house, and my stepsister told me to go, and I had nowhere to go. And so I think it was having someone, for me, having some friends and family who I could turn to, who then, lockdown was coming to an end at that point. So, I stayed with them, and they helped me get, my family helped me get a flat, and it was just get those small steps to turning things around. And I think when you have a bit of success, start getting my flat, then obviously that helps with the sort of mental battle, you can see, the positive. So, So
I think you're right. It is small steps, isn't it? You can't just expect your life to just completely flip around again. And it's, having that support around you is massive, and it's reaching out for that support as well, isn't it? It's important.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes it's the hardest thing to admit you're struggling, or to when you're if you're feeling low, to tell people that. I think it's particularly, it's known that men aren't very good at that, but I think generally it is when you need support the most. It's often really hard to reach out and tell people you need that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're right. I think it is generally men that struggle to do that. And it's interesting, isn't it, how the psyche of the man works to say, oh, we'll always pull ourselves out of it, when actually it's not always possible. You do need help and support, and you sort of seek that out when when you're at your worst.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, and we were just talking about that before you arrived, Nick.
Yeah, no, what I what did I
about how men basically how men are actually we're influenced to basically stay silent by society, because we're still supposed to be these masculine, strong, independent, look after the family providers, and we're very restricted from actually being able to be vulnerable.
No, I think as much as we, I think, like to think, we're I mean, obviously we're moving toward, equality of in many ways, but I think, in the stereotypical roles and expectations, I think definitely, there is that of our, our role in state society between men and women, and I think it's certainly, for men, I think I agree. It's
interesting. It's interesting though, isn't it? And I think I'd love to know like the real reason behind it, because, for example, at the minute I'm traveling, I'm helping third world children. I'm teaching in different countries for free. I posted that all over Facebook. I've got like 2,000 friends, and I think I got 4 likes. But if you're female and in stockers suspenders bending over a bed, you're probably going to get about 2,000 likes. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. I watch a lot of TikToks on this sort of thing and narcissism and stuff like that. And they're talking about the female society, how the female narcissist has developed over time. And it was a woman that was saying it. And she was basically saying that with the fact that it's glamorized, isn't it, for women to dress a certain way and to wear more makeup and to have all these filters and all the rest of it. So it's constantly being promoted on all these different platforms, whereas for men, we're just expected to just be us, be ourselves, and get no credit for the things that we do. And it's no real wonder that, we kind of go into our shells a little bit, because if you're posting things if I post on Facebook something like that where I'm actually helping third world children and I get 4 likes and no real support of it. In fact, the only people that really commented were saying that I shouldn't have used the word third world.
Sure. Yeah.
How ridiculous is that? Yeah, and it became like a big argument or a big debate, and I'm like, is that your only concern? Like, I don't think there's people in the third world who are going, you can't say that about us. Like, sure. Why are you trying to make a deal out of it? Yeah, so I don't know. I just find that's why I like TikTok, because in all my experience, like meeting Adam, meeting people like that, meeting amazing like friends that I consider now, there's actually a really supportive community. And it's the first time that I felt as a man that I feel as supported as a woman would be on a platform, because I think the rest of them are just probably subjectifying sexuality and having to look a certain way, which glorifies. Like, I've got a 6-year-old little girl, and I hate the fact that she's going to want to wear makeup and get her nails done and have to try and make herself look more beautiful than she already is, because she's amazing. And she will go through life. If she'd never wore an ounce of makeup in her life, she would be amazing, because she's such a beautiful soul. So
no, 100%. No, I agree.
But it's interesting, isn't it? It's just interesting the way society has gone to that extent.
Yeah, no, it's definitely. I guess one example is when I was just made second redundancy, and I was at home, and I was doing a bit of freelancing, and I sort of connected with some men who were like in between work, and some of them were like house husbands in that way. They were looking after their children while they were home, and it was saying that it's they didn't feel it was accepted. They didn't feel it was like as a man they should be out working and they should be earning money. When obviously, depending on different circumstances in families, but whether it's a house, as a woman working with kids or a man, I think it's quite funny.
There's a big stigma attached to it.
Yeah,
it's strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Strange. Yeah. But it's what I don't know. I feel like I'm constantly adapting to new culture, and the way society's changing. But yeah, I'd just love to know the reason behind it, if that makes sense. And I don't know if it's. I don't know. What do you guys think? What is the reason behind what I've said, or what would be your opinion on it?
And this is same in the comments as well for anyone that wants to address.
Yeah. Feel free to comment, guys. I'm more interested in your
Nick?
opinions.
Well, I mean, I think we. I think things that things that have gone on for a long time, in culture, in society, I take a long time to change, and I think it's if you look at any society, any society in the world, they have their own cultures, and cultures build up over a long time, and then quite hard to change, and I guess that's we need to challenge these things, don't we? I think that's how things improve and evolve.
It's even with, I don't know if you've noticed it as well, guys, but like, again, and it's not derogatory towards women. I'm glad they get this level of support.
Oh, I don't know what happened then. It must be a signal. It must be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just all about how we can bring that equality back. Because obviously, because obviously, I know everyone struggles with mental health. Everyone.
Yeah.
But it's all about how we can bring that equality back, where men support men, women support women, and men support and women support each other.
And I suppose it's if you can relate to something someone says, you're more likely to connect with them and listen to them, and so it's sort of connecting with people who perhaps have been through similar experiences or more open to I think people who haven't been through something similar to you, it's hard sometimes for people to understand or they can't relate to it. So I think there's a
sorry about that, guys. I just cut off. I don't know what cut me off then. I was about to say, even with like Facebook, for example, what's that?
The signal.
Can you hear me okay?
The Brazilian signal.
The Brazilian signal, you might be right. Yeah. No, I think you can look at Facebook, and I'm glad women do get this level of support. I just find it interesting that men don't. If you put a profile picture on again, how many comments will there be from all their friends, all their family, where, oh, you're beautiful, like you're stunning, da 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 da. And then again, you do it as a man. And I don't know if I'm not seeking out that level of feedback and comments, because you got to start to love yourself, right? But it's interesting, the difference. And I always find it, I don't know why there is such a significant difference in that.
I think where you go, what you mean by this, for people that don't understand what he's talking about, please, anyone correct me if I'm wrong with this, because I'm open to that. But I think what you talk about is if a woman posts a picture, like a selfie, like they've just gone on, I just got ready and they take that selfie, like they're gonna go out, and they get like, oh, you're beautiful and stuff like that, you're stunning. But if a man does it, and you get other people saying, like men saying, oh, you look good and stuff like that, you get accused of being like gay or something like that, don't you? When in reality, you're not.
I think there's just a significant difference in the level of support that women. This is what I was saying to you before. There needs to be more men that support men and women that support men and vice versa, whatever. But I just think you get, like I say, this is not derogatory towards women, so I think it's great that they get that level of support from their friends and family. But it's interesting to look at the fact that men don't get that, and it sort of all builds up and leads up to why men feel more lonely, perhaps, or men feel like they're more isolated. And I think that's what we're kind of talking about, isn't it? And it'd be good to get a female's opinion. It'd be good to get some sort of female hosts on here as well to talk about, what they think about the situation. Because I don't think a lot of people realizes the effect it can have on a man's mental health when they don't feel like they can. I'll give you an example. I've taught for 15 years. Can you imagine how many different teachers and friends I've made over that time? But if I message 10 guys and say, oh, do you fancy going for a beer at some point? I'll probably get 1 or 2 replies, and most of the time it's, oh, I'm with my family, I've got no time for that, and all the rest of it. So most of my friends are female as a result of that. I don't know if you guys have similar circumstances.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Yeah, I mean, most of my socially wise, most of my if I was to go socially, I definitely it'd be more female. I think I don't know if it's like they say, I didn't read the Venus and Mars book, women from Mars and women, men of Venus around, but I think definitely with or women I know are better at organising things, socializing, and my men I know are terrible at it. Maybe it's something we need to be better at, but I agree. There's there's definitely, whether it's, I'm not sure why that is, it's quite interesting, but yeah, definitely not sure really, but
yeah, it's just interesting.
Yeah, well, we've got a few
good...
comments.
Go on, Adam.
Yeah, well, we've got a few comments. Obviously, we've got our Canadian friend, Miss Liz herself. She basically says the whole world has been very unsupportive, and it is because everyone is being censored, and too many have ruined many platforms by not staying the course of the mission.
Yeah. I mean, as it goes, I mean, just going back briefly to my situation. I mean, when I sort of was, with my stepsister in Kent, and I want, trying to get back into pick my life up. I mean, one of the things that I said, obviously I connected with people who could support me, but I think one of the big things that made a difference to me, I think, was I had my my son meant everything to me, and he was what getting me back out of my situation and pick myself up to be that role model for him and to inspire him and to spend time with him, to be able to spend time with him, was obviously what drove me. And I think, sort of having, that, if without that sort of real constant, almost image of my son in my mind, drive me forward. I think, you need something in life, that, your that thing that drives you, that it is your why you do things.
Sense of purpose, yeah.
And yeah, with me, obviously, my son was my purpose and my why, and that sort of that made a big difference, and obviously that determination, resilience to sort of overcome step by step, because that was that. So I think that's whatever struggles you have, I think that's a big, can make a big difference.
Well, I have to mention this because it doesn't just obviously I'll get you to your comment in a minute, Liz, because it's very valid. It's not just about mental health as well. It's about disabilities such as autism. Now, obviously, me and Kerry, we're parents of autistic children, and we had support around us. But then as soon as we mentioned to the world that, these kids have autism, and it was diagnosed, suddenly that support departed us. And that includes family as well. So it just shows the stigma and the lack of understanding society has on these things. And this is why SEN children, SEN families, shall I say, are being discriminated and bullied because of things like this. And that actually causes trauma within that family.
It's interesting that, obviously your experience of having that stigma around it is obviously then now shaped what you do in your passion and your purpose to make do what you do and create the awareness around these things and have these discussions and change the way things are. So obviously, so it's that obviously awful experience of the stigma you experience with yourself and your children has obviously now then created a purpose you have in this way. So it's
absolutely. Yeah, like just one of the experiences I had was basically, it was the Christmas period, which we all know how hectic the shopping centres can get around Christmas. And we went into, and obviously the kids were very small anyway, so we thought, okay, we'll go into this particular store because our daughter wanted something. She was fine, but our eldest, by the way, it's his birthday today, he's 12. He literally turned and he ran outside into a busy shopping centre, and that was actually the Trafford Centre in Manchester, which we all know how busy that gets. So I literally had to run after him because he was literally ready to jump off that, because we're literally on the top tier and he was ready to jump. So I literally caught him, and I literally had to sit literally on the floor with him, give him my phone so he can play whatever he wants to play on the phone, YouTube, whatever, games, and just to calm him down. And it worked. But did I get funny looks because of it? Yes, I did. But I don't give a shit about that. My priority was making sure my son was okay.
I guess it's obviously a reflection of you as a person, you know, that obviously, your instinct came in and, just to care for your son. And, it's there is obviously clearly there is, people don't understand. Maybe that's fundamentally it, the stigma's there because people just don't understand it. Maybe they've not experienced, children with SEN needs, then it's
there's probably not enough awareness about it. There's probably not enough talks about it, if I'm honest.
And just getting to these comments, Liz, men have voices as a woman. It makes lots of sense what you're all saying. We can all support one another. We just need to bring back empathy. Good point,
I agree
Adam.
with that.
You should do a poll about men and women, then bring the numbers to tables. Honestly, she gets more support from men friends. So it looks like men are more towards supporting the women rather than each other. And it's all about how can women support men instead of just, because there's that saying, ain't there, women stick together. But men don't stick together. They don't. Because we are still being indoctrinated into believing we go to a man and saying, "Oh, I'm struggling today. I'm having a bit of a depressive day." Oh, man up. You get over it. We don't want to be hearing shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't.
Yeah. We need to take the stigma away from mental health, don't we? And this is what these shows are about. Is showing that it's okay to not be okay. I think that's the main objective of this, and learning from that. Because, I think, like I say, it's my experience of a life coach. Women are always willing to reach out and ask for that support and help. And then when I even mention, like the person I was speaking to today in a consultancy call, I actually said, because she's having relationship troubles, like, would your partner be interested in doing like joint sessions? And then it keeps the cost down for both of you. She said, oh no, I don't know if you'd like that. And I'm like, but it's going to help your relationship. Yeah, I know it'll help our relationship, but he won't do it. And it's interesting. It's almost like men say, "Oh, we don't need that help. Like we'll just do it ourselves and we'll work it out ourselves." And maybe that's part of the problem, is that men, as a result, become very insular, and therefore, when they see other guys struggle, and it's obvious that someone struggles on Facebook or whatever, they don't even reach out to them because they think, "Oh, they'll get through it. They'll be fine." It's almost that notion.
Exactly.
I mean. Just is it a pride thing? Is it I don't know. Yeah, is it a macho thing of admitting you're vulnerable? But I think it is just literally like you said, saying it's okay to not be okay. And I think I know from my female friends that if they're stressed, if they're upset, if they're with his work or relationships and getting down, they'll be open. They'll tell one friend or their friends. But I think there's something about it that just from a man to say, we all have perhaps a close friend we can talk to, but generally to a group of friends or more, to be able to just say, I'm struggling, I'm feeling me down. I don't know what it is. Why?
And that's why I think we need more men's groups like this. You've got Andy's Man Club as well, which is proving quite a success as well nationwide. And that's why, on all my TikTok lives, it's open to everybody. Like, but again, what I've noticed is it is the women that will reach out about it. But hopefully there'll be more men that start to see these sort of lives and see what we're talking about and see that, we're just three general guys. Like, there's nothing special about us, but we're willing to talk about our emotions, the things that have happened to us. And maybe that will encourage others to do the same.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Nick, When you was literally going through all that shit, homeless, lost everything, all that, how did you learn to then thought, fuck this, I want to bounce back, rise from the ashes? What did you do? Like, what triggered you to say, I need action, I need to do something?
Well, I mean, I guess, like, I think you touched on it earlier, you reach, I think, like Tony Robbins said, you reach a point where you think, if I don't, if I keep on sinking down, I'm gonna hit rock bottom, and you realize you have to turn things around, or you're gonna just go down further and further. And I think for me, it was I kept in touch with my son through, as much as I could through my wife's phone, because he's only 8. But I wasn't seeing him at all, and I thought I have to, if I didn't get myself a situation and somehow change things, get things back on track somehow, that I would lose him. I genuinely thought, there's a risk that I don't know, that I would lose him. And I thought the only way I would be to get the relationship back, and and keep that keep seeing him, was to get myself mentally and practically back on track. And it was a real battle, to sort of and all that things happen. Also, you totally lose your confidence and self-esteem, but I think it was like small steps, but it was just that maybe if it was my son was my purpose, and I knew that to do it, I thought I had a little plan, but small steps. I knew I had to get back into London, that's place, and I had to get someone to live. We're staying at friends to start with, renting, but staying at friends' sofas quite a while. But get work, doing a business, but step by step, I just knew, that was it. It was like that resilience thing. I just, keeping that vision, that each way, what I had to step by step closer, really. But and trying to, I suppose you want to, I don't want to, as a father, I want to inspire my son to be a role model. That's the ultimate thing. And I think when I spoke to my son, I was aware, I wanted him to see that I was picking myself up, getting back on my feet. I didn't want him to see that I was struggling. So I think when you in life, for me, the greatest thing you can do is inspire others, or even inspire yourself if you're proud of what you're achieving. And I think that was, for me, was a big thing.
Definitely agree.
Absolutely. Yeah, and obviously before I ask you the same question, we do have a question as well, which I think is brilliant. Liz, a question I often ask other women who have sons, why they don't fight for services for men. What example are we actually showing if we don't get an understanding of men have stories and voices too? I think, I do know what, I'm actually going to bring that up, because I think that is just freaking, it's bang on. It's absolutely bang on. What are women, what is, not just women, what is society showing when men are actually being degraded? Because in many courts, I have to bring up the courts, men and dads are still classed as second-class citizens in this country.
Yeah.
What does that show? Even though half the time the mothers are actually the perpetrators and the men are the victims.
Yeah. It happened with me last year. I had to battle to see my little girl 50-50, and it was all agreed in mediation, and it took a long battle just to get to that stage, and then it went to court, and she got more time with my little girl than I did. And the court system is just absolute garbage. I've lost all faith in the justice system.
Well, don't get me started, because at the end of the day, I lost a daughter to adoption, all because my kids have got autism.
No,
that's how. Yeah, and because I was fighting and I fought for over 7+ years, I've now been slapped with a 10-year restraining order.
Wow.
By the courts. Yeah, no, I agree. I think definitely there is a, I think, you know, as a father, you know, wanting to inspire my son to be a role model. That's absolutely bang on. It's absolutely bang on. What are women, what is society showing when men are actually being degraded? Because in many courts, I have to bring up the courts,
a bias in the legal system. I think, you know, and again, I think it's a bit antiquated, but, you know, you know, we've you know, men, you know, so it's stereotypes. I think it's still affecting the legal system, but you know, men are the earners, so men have more money, but so women should always have the children because they're the mothers. But obviously, you know, it's always you know, antiquated view of things is still fought and reflected when there's, you know, when in the family courts we often see this, you know, and I think it's, you know, that simplistic way of looking at it, you know.
What's interesting is throughout the whole system that I went through, and was they always said, and this was always the social workers, they said, it's not about you and your wife or ex-wife, it's about the child. And I said, I agree. So therefore, that child has the equal right to see her dad and her mum at equal amounts of time. Would you agree? And they always agreed. They couldn't disagree with me. So why is it then that it's the mother's house that is then viewed, and they check the house to see if that child is safe in that environment? They don't do it in the man's house, or they didn't do it in my house. And it's just, you know, there was so much bias in it. And also, anyone can make an anonymous claim to social services, go, oh, I'm worried about this guy. So my ex-wife could get all of her friends to ring up and go, oh, I'm worried about this guy, and when he's around my daughter. Okay, so prove it. Oh, no, you don't need to prove it. It's just an anonymous call, so we're going to check it out. What have you done to check it out? Have you ever been to my house? Have you ever seen how I interact with my little girl? Have you seen what I'm doing with her? How much she loves being around my house? No, you've not done any of that. So I know 100% that my little girl loves being at my house, and she loves being at her mum's house. So why can't it be 50-50? And even in mediation, my ex-wife, I've still got this on recording, actually said the words, as a mother, I deserve to see our daughter more. She actually said those words.
Yeah, I know. I've had a similar
it's not just about the court system as well. It's education as well. Now, obviously, people know I despise the education system. I completely disagree with it. But obviously, people
try working in it for 15 years.
Well, do you know what? I have to bring it to the attention since we're talking about men. Obviously, we are going to come back to women. That's not a problem about bringing equality. But I obviously was focused on, I was talking to a careers advisor just the other day about what I want to do with my qualifications, because I just need a bit of advice. And he mentioned about the education working within the schools, like, for example, a teaching system. I'm like, okay, but why? Because there's very, very few men that are working within the education system.
I think
few men, more women.
I wouldn't say, in all my experience of working in teaching, I think it was getting to 50-50, especially in secondary. That I wouldn't say is so much the problem in teaching now. I think a bigger problem is the fact that the people in the hierarchy, the people who are making the big decisions, they don't want to listen to the people at ground level. And I'll never forget when I worked in a private school for 10 years, a student turned around to me and was like, "Sir, never ever become a headmaster." And I was like, "Wow, that's quite a statement." I was like, "Wow, why would you say that?" And they actually said, "Because we need teachers like you at the ground level, where you actually care about what we think and you care about how we learn, as opposed to just telling us how we should learn." And that's a really interesting, I'll never forget it. And he was absolutely bang on, because the higher you go up in teaching, the less teaching you do, the less you know how much students need to be helped and how they want to be helped. That's the biggest problem for me. And when Rishi Sunak's come in and he's saying, "Oh, we're going to teach kids maths up to 18, why? Why would you force them to do something they don't want to do? How about you focus more on mental health, invest in that, show schools how much you're actually going to put into that, the funding for that, get people like me and Adam and yourself, Nick, into schools talking about mental health, coping techniques, coping mechanisms of dealing with anxiety, depression, whatever the kids are faced with, drug abuse. That's what we need to invest in, not how to do maths till you're 18. It just seems so obvious. The answer seems so obvious, but they don't seem to want to listen.
I agree. It's I think, life skills, and social skills, and I think, mental health being one of those, are so as important as things like maths, and we should be having, maths plays a part to an extent, but yeah, focusing on that being the most important thing to your 18. That's but like the just said, what about in schools? Teach more about mental health, but also look at how do you look after your own mental health, how to support others. Managing.
I want to bring that up because obviously I'll wait till he gets back. Like he's just here as well. Yeah. I just want to bring it to that attention. I just want to pull on it because you make a valid point about Rishi Sunak mentioning about maths being taught till 18. Our 10-year-old daughter responded with that to us, and she questioned it. What if we don't like maths?
Yeah.
Who is actually thinking about that?
No. Well, what's ironic is he's missing the main point. What kids need to be taught is how to pay a mortgage, what a mortgage is, how to save money, how to pay the bills. Like that's the sort of thing that they actually should be investing time in. I taught in 15 years, not once did we do a finance lesson about this is how you manage your own money. This is how you save. If you earn £30 a month doing paper rounds, you save 10 of it. That's what I did. That's what I was taught by my dad growing up. But no one seems to have witnessed that. That's the bit, not algebra to you're 18, because, like you say, your daughter's already questioned it. Like, they're not interested in it. Why would they be? They didn't even enjoy it until 16.
I agree. I think social education focuses on the theoretical. Like maths is quite theoretical. A lot of subjects you look at GCSEs, A levels. It's a theory of, I don't know, geography, physics, history. Not history, but there's a lot of theory. But actually, what about the practical? Kids leave school with 16 of A levels, 20 university. Yeah, but do you have a clue how to manage their money? Do the shopping? Their communication, social practical skills, even little DIY things. I mean, around property. I mean, there's so many little things that 100%. This is what will makes people successful, make them happy, keep their mental health strong, make them achieve what achieve. It's not knowing maths. So yeah, I 100% agree. I think we need to shift.
Yeah, well, it's
an additional thing.
It's not just that because. Yeah, well, I have noticed mental health is slowly being taught in schools, but it's not quick enough. And I want to elaborate on that because I remember when my kids were in mainstream school, and obviously we withdrew them out of religious education for personal reasons because they don't need that. And obviously the school then got in touch and said, okay, then, well, we need to fill that gap. So what would you like them to be taught? I'm like, okay, then, mental health. They're like, okay, not a problem. A week later, when I went to go and pick my daughter up from school, I went, okay, so what have you learned today? Oh, we've taught about mental health. I'm like, brilliant. Talk to me about it. Oh, the impact of like how depression, anxiety, and trauma and PTSD all impact you. I'm like, oh, brilliant. Okay, then. What about the emotion side? And she went, I don't know. This is what I mean. They don't get taught about emotions. Why?
Well, I think half of it is because the teachers out there aren't trained to do it.
Exactly.
And I think that's another thing they need to invest in. Like, I would love to go in and do consultancy with teachers and say, this is how you should talk to people. This is how you should deliver sessions.
I agree.
This is what I want to do when I get back from my traveling, is go into schools, speak to teachers, speak to students, and say, look, this is how you can actually improve, have actual coping techniques and strategies. There's no point just telling you, like, when I went to a private school, the buzzword was resilience. I still remember it to this day. There was a big assembly about it. Resilience. This is what resilience is. Oh, great. So all the kids are going to go away and they're going to know exactly what resilience is. No, they're not. They're just going to know what the word means. They don't actually know how to apply it. And the way you build resilience in children, in my opinion, is give them problems to solve. And there's a million problems you can give them that aren't going to affect them long term. There could be a maths problem. There could be a science problem. Teach kids how to fail, not just how to succeed, and take away the fear of failure. That's the biggest thing, because in my experience of 15 years of teaching, every single child I've come across is scared of failing an exam. They don't see the benefits of failing that exam because then they can come back and do better next time. They just go, oh shit, I got 20%. I'm such a failure. I'm rubbish at science. And it's like, No, you're not. Like, you just haven't. You need to learn next time how you build up a network and build up a system to mean that you don't fail next time. That's the key. That's the key skill.
Well, my kids have learned since because I've taught them myself what fail actually really stands for. First attempt in learning.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I'm actually going to put it in the comments.
I heard that one before. No, I heard that one before. That's,
yeah, I like that. It is the first attempt in learning. But you look at how people go in life, you learn more from your failures than you do from your successes. Like, if everyone just succeeded in everything in life, you wouldn't actually. I don't think life would be as enjoyable. Like, you've got to know what failure feels like, and then come back from it, and that's the rewarding feeling, knowing that you've actually, yeah, I like that first attempt in learning. It is 100%.
No, definitely.
100%.
And I think, I mean, for me, I definitely failed spectacularly in many. I could say, to be honest, I failed in my career at some point. I failed in my relationship, my wife, marriage. So but yeah, I mean, I've 100%. I've learned from that, and my life is better by understanding, the failure. So you can. I guess for me, I could have let that failures. There were failures, and they definitely were. But if I let them hold me back or learn from them and grow from them. But
absolutely, it's not what happens to you in life; it's how you react to it that's important. And I don't think people recognise that enough. That there's too much judgment in life about failure. Like, there's too much, especially on social media. Everyone's trying to drag you down, or a lot of people are, and you just think, do you know what? Why don't we celebrate success more? Why don't we celebrate coming back from the worst possible parts of your lives and the horrible failures that you've admitted to? And it's interesting how people respond to even people who like accept when they've done something wrong, apologize for what they've done wrong, and there'll still be people out there going, "Oh well, you're only apologizing because you want this, this, and this." Well, how can you ever win in life? How can you ever actually come back from what you're coming back from if you've not got some sort of understanding of your failures? So it's crazy.
Do you know what? There's actually a video which I shared many times about Albert Einstein, where he actually wrote the 10 times tables on the board, and he did 1 times 10, 2 times 10, up until 10 times 10, and he got them all right. But then he purposely said 11 times 10, and he put the wrong answer, and suddenly he was actually laughed at. Then he actually turned to that class and he went, "You've acknowledged that I made a mistake, but where's the acknowledgement for when I actually succeeded?"
Interesting.
Very clever man. Very clever man.
What do we focus on? Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think also is I think perhaps in social media as well, very black and white. Over what is success? What is failure? Success looks like this, failure looks like this, and perhaps we have to think of things a bit more sort of success can mean different things, different people, and failure can as well. But I think it doesn't. Success doesn't always look like one thing for everyone. We can have our own version of what makes us successful.
I think my biggest version of success is actually being grateful for the things that you have in life. And when you travel, like, honestly, when I went to Ethiopia, I always say to my clients, and I always say to people on TikTok when I do my lives, where are the happiest people in life? And it's always like California or Dubai or these extravagant places. I go, no, you've clearly never been to Ethiopia, because I've never seen so many smiling people.
True. No.
Because if you're, and I've actually, there's scientific evidence to support this as well. Like a good example is a chocolate box, right? So if I said to you guys, right, there's 2 chocolates to choose from, you advertise the caramel one or the hazelnut one, right? You've got 2 options. You go, oh, well, I prefer caramel. Brilliant. Easy. I'm going to have that. That'll be enjoyable. If you then give a box of chocolates and you go, oh, God, I really don't know which to have. Like, there's so much choice. You look at our lives, that is literally what our lives is in the Western world, in the first world, right? We just have everything at our disposal. You can go to the supermarket now, order whatever you want. You can have the finest steak, you can have the lobster, whatever. And that makes your life more difficult and therefore almost unhappier, because you might go, oh, shit, I picked the wrong one. And this is the society we live in now, and that's what's crazy. And that's why when I went to Ethiopia with my private school, we built a school, we helped the kids, we gave out things. They were grateful for a pencil. I had 30 kids in the smallest room you can imagine, actually 60 kids, aged between 3 and 18. And every single kid, where I drew a sheep on the board and said, right, what's that? Every single kid in that classroom put their hand up. Because they wanted to be doctors, lawyers, teachers, make something of their lives. And we're just grateful that there was an English teacher there teaching them things. That's amazing. I'll never forget that experience ever.
Yeah. I think there's definitely something
going back to the word fail. Yeah, well, going back to the word fail, I actually uploaded a post about that. And I actually got it from a TikTok video, believe it or not. And it's basically saying, if you don't fail, you are not trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true.
Yeah. Do you remember a song called "Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen"? Yes. You heard this? No. It's amazing song. If you get a chance, listen to it, because there's a comment. Everything's about life experiences, but one part says, "Do one thing every day that scares you," because it takes you out of your comfort zone, right? Like today, I'm in the middle of Rio de Janeiro, which sounds amazing, but I had no fucking clue how to get to this place I wanted to go, which is stunning by the time I got there. But you have to get like 3 metros, a bus, speak to people I don't speak English. They only speak Portuguese. And I still went out and did it. And I succeeded. I arrived at the place I wanted to. I failed along the way because I couldn't speak Portuguese, but I still found a way. And that's the sort of problem solving I was talking about earlier. Like, how many adults would be willing to just throw themselves out in the middle of the street, no 4G, no Wi-Fi, and just try and find a place they've never been to before?
I guess, what have you got to lose? Absolutely. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, kind of thing, isn't it?
You've got to think like that. You've got to dig your way out of the hole. That's what you got to do. That's what I've learned from this trip so far, is finding a solution to my problems, and that will go a long, long way. But we need to do more of that in schools.
I think that thing of creative.
Hi, Chris Roush. Hope you're well. But yeah, Liz said no one's teaching emotions. They are teaching feeling, but not emotions.
That's probably true.
So as of that, we will slowly wrap this up. So where can people find you both?
So I'm all over TikTok as the Phoenix Life Coach and the Positive Overthinker. I'll put in the comments now my website, so you can check that out. And if anyone's got any mental health problems, feel free to message me. My mobile number's on there as well. So I just need to join the chat, I think. Hang on a second. You guys talk while I'm doing this. It's not a quick process.
Yes, for me, my brand is Secret Influence. So if you Google that, you should find it, secretinfluence.co.uk, Secret Influence TV on YouTube. Also, if you go to my personal website, nickronald.com, you can find out about me there. So I do a lot of public speaking around issues like mental health, and help people be better communicating, and being able to communicate and persuade and influence positively in life. I'm a writer and help people grow in businesses. So check out Seek Influence or nickronald.com.
Where do you do your public speaking, out of interest, Nick? Because that's something I'd like to be more involved in. So I'd love to know. Maybe I'll get your number after this, and we'll have a chat about.
I've been a member of Toastmasters, international public speaking organisation, to me about 10 years, and support 50 clubs in London that, and hundreds of speeches through that, to speak a lot of conferences and events. I also a member of a few speaking networks and groups, so speak a lot of events in London, in person, a lot online. So motivational speaking, my main thing, but a lot of sort of speeches around empowering people to be able to speak, to inspire and influence others. A lot through part of a few post-speaking groups and networks through Toastmasters. But happy to. keep in touch. And
Brilliant. Yeah, I'll drop you a message after this, and
Cool.
we'll have a chat about it. I'd love to get more involved with things like that.
Yeah.
That'd be brilliant.
100%.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah, you two need to come up to Manchester and we'll speak. We'll do a speaking event.
I will.
Because I'm willing to join.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Come on,
that'd be
you
awesome.
was near me at one point, Nick.
I know I am. I'm going to visit you. I've got friends your way, so no excuses. This year I will come see you.
We'll organise a big
Right.
get together. Awesome. Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Been
Yeah,
absolutely
Billy, it's strength. And yeah, so as of that, I'm going to wrap up. Please join me next week as we're going to carry on this conversation, but we're going to be discussing surviving and thriving, and there's going to be a big panel of people coming on, so happy days. So I will see you all next week, same time next week. So I will see you all later.
Thank you. Thank you, Adam. It's been a pleasure and a privilege.